Miracles do happen. A gorgeously imaginative new musical is now on Broadway. Water for Elephants is a New York Times Critics' Pick. It's stunning, emotional, spellbinding entertainment. A dazzling love story, propulsive with passion. Don't miss the best new musical on Broadway. Water for Elephants. Get tickets now at telecharge.com and choose the ride.
Tired of ads interfering with your favorite sports podcasts? Good news. Ad-free listening is available on Amazon Music for all the music plus top podcasts included with your Prime membership. Stay ahead of the game by downloading the Amazon Music app for free or go to amazon.com/sports ad free. That's amazon.com/sports ad free to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads.
Hello, Egg Chasers. It's the Egg Chasers Rugby podcast, the podcast about rugby that doesn't take itself or the game too seriously. Back in the rugby dungeon again, because there's just too much rugby not to talk about. So, in addition to the early episode that we recorded before Sunday's games, we are back in the rugby dungeon on this Monday to talk about the games we missed, the other stories that have been bubbling, and for once, this stuff always seems to happen on a Monday.
Yeah.
If we ever
or
were
Sunday evening.
Yes, Sunday evening or Monday, so it's quite timely that we're able to discuss this. This is going to be the first of 3 podcasts, because we're going to do another one for the Patreon feed for all our fantastic patrons, which you can find more content, including that which will cover some of the salacious stories bubbling in rugby at the minute.
Goodness me. What a weekend for bad boys.
Yeah. Patreon.com/EggChasers. You all right, Jay?
I'm good. I'm very, very, very good. Before we start, though, let's just have a shout out for North Dorset Sevens. We need players.
Yes.
Now, as I said, I don't know if you heard my shout out for North Dorset Sevens players.
It's the weekend of the 6th of July?
6th of July. The anti-All Blacks, we only want dickheads. So, preliminary, we've got Billy V playing. We've got Stuart Hogg playing. Ugo Monyo's going to have a run out on the wing. So all not exactly confirmed, but very likely to play. So if you think you're equally as much of a dickhead, please sign up to North Dorset Sevens right now. Contact eggchasers@gmail.com.
Yeah, if you live anywhere near North Dorset Sevens, you can come and play, and you can come and be a social member. Just come for the crack, because it's always a good laugh. So, contact eggchasers@gmail.com. Now, we'll be entering... Is there a Vets competition, or is that not... It's just Sevens this year, isn't it?
We'll just be
Vets,
playing.
I think Vets on Friday night, and then I think we've got 2 flavours of Sevens teams.
Social
on the
and super social.
Yes.
So, all comers welcome.
Yes.
The standard of social was too good the last time we were there.
It was
like there were some serious players. You don't deserve to call yourself social, so they have now developed a super social competition,
which all those amazing players will have stepped down to now.
Yeah. So contact eggchasers@gmail.com. I unfortunately will be in South Africa. Phil, I noticed you're wearing a Springbok top today.
I am.
That's good.
Picked out.
You two are so corrupted by South African money. Big South African money. Where's your Bulls hat, Phil?
I picked this instead of my Bulls shirt, actually.
Did you really?
South Africa shirt.
Me.
Springbok.
Oh, just on that, we were asking, is there a better club lock combination than Tyburn and RG Snyman?
Yeah, and it turns out there's quite a few of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was, Matt Field and Bakkies Botha both played together at the Bulls.
Yeah.
Which doesn't get a lot better than that.
Doesn't, does it?
I mean, it is one of the all-time best international lock pairings playing at club level.
I mean, if we're going historic, Kay and Johnson have to be up there.
That's a
good shout.
That's a really good shout.
Yeah.
And apparently back in 2016, the Stormers signed Peter Steph Toy from the Sharks.
Yeah, I'm not having that one.
And so they had, at the time, Peter Steph Toy was a lock. When I first saw him, he was a lock when he played in that 2019.
Was he? I thought he was a really cumbersome, terrible flanker.
No, he's not.
Who Ben Youngs ran round twice. that was him at 21, and obviously he improved subsequent to that.
But you're saying he wasn't the player he was in 2019.
No, I just never thought he was a lock. I've never seen it. I mean, I'm sure he has played lock.
Yeah,
but he's literally the greatest player the world has ever seen when he's not playing lock. So I'm not having that.
Oh yeah, but Ryan Groom, thanks for the suggestion of Bakkies and Victor Matfield, which is a great one. Joe Pinkston, contact eggchasers@gmail.com, said Whitelock and Barrett played together at Crusaders.
Tremendous shout.
Yeah.
Who was Retallack's partner?
He was what, sorry?
Chiefs. Retired, played almost all of his rugby, I think, at the Chiefs. But I couldn't tell you who his most famous partner was.
Right, on this podcast, we are going to cover off the rugby that we didn't talk about yesterday. And the reason we didn't talk about it yesterday is because I insisted with the boys we did the podcast before, because I wanted to leave the afternoon and evening exclusively for the Lancashire Cup final, the under 16s Lancashire Cup final, I should say.
Yep.
In which my son and his Broughton Park teammates were playing.
And how did that go, Tim? Tell
What was
us
the score?
Tell us all about it.
Score was Broughton Park 11, Waterloo 10.
Crikey.
That is a nail-biting scoreline.
Now, off the pod, on the pod, you were very coy about your chances. You said you'll be proud of him no matter what. And then off the pod, you're like, I don't think we're going to win this. Waterloo were very, very good.
They were very, very good.
So tell me what happened.
It was, and I don't know how many times, I always do a little match report in the parents' WhatsApp group afterwards. And I've lost count of the number of times I've said, I'm in awe of the defensive effort and how they managed to win that. I don't know how they managed to pull off that goal line stand after goal line stand. And they did it again. It was a really strong wind, and we probably didn't get as many points they didn't get as many points as they needed to. 11-6 up at half-time.
Ooh, tight then.
And then Waterloo had all the territory in our 22 for about 15-20 minutes. Well, about 20 minutes of the second half in our 22. And it was just heroic. Absolutely heroic.
Why couldn't you exit?
The wind was so strong. And
see.
Also, the lads gave away 9 high tackle penalties.
9?
Ooh. And 1 yellow card. The referee was playing it very much like the posters you see in the clubhouses with the red zone there.
So annoying.
Oh, wow.
So anything chest high was high.
Yeah.
And we were getting penalised off the park and didn't react. And so you just lost all momentum. But absolutely heroic. Like, I was saying this after many Guinnesses last night, chatting with some of the other parents. Like, they're at an age now, they're just about to do their GCSEs, and you can sort of see it's going to be another blink of an eye. You know what it's like with your young kids. All of a sudden, they're the age they are now. Another blink of an eye, they're going to be gone. But I was just looking at that bunch of young men, and this is why I love rugby. And I was sort of thinking, yeah, life's going to be tough sometimes. It's going to be hard. You got these exams; they're going to be a struggle. Job, all the rest of it. And I was looking at them, going, they're going to be all right. And
They'll be fine.
And some people say, like, you know, tough things like rugby, for example, builds character. I actually think the amazing thing about rugby, it reveals character. It builds character, but it reveals it. And it's they're just an awesome bunch of lads. And I coach at the university, Man-Met University, and I think it there even more so with these 16-year-olds. It's like, and I reckon every coach of young age groups probably thinks this is like, fucking, what an absolute privilege it is just to spend time with these people at that age.
I think it is more just the discovery of character at the age you've just coached at, Tim, because I think you go to university as a rugby player rather than become one. So there is a slight difference there. But yeah, it happens all the time.
The transformation from semi-finalists last year to winners, like they just had this chests out in the warm-up. I was like, okay, we're all right.
Here we go. Here we go. Just tell me a little bit about Waterloo.
Very good ball in hand, really slick, great offloads, fast back three, good back row. They were getting offloads in all the time. So we only made one line break in the whole match.
No way. Why didn't they kick the points then?
Well, that was it. They scored 2 tries to 1.
Yeah.
We've got an amazing fly half who every single time when I get to training on a Wednesday night, he's there with a bag of balls doing kicks.
Great
awesome.
stuff. Great stuff.
And it's like 15
and that's literally that won the game.
That won the game. He nailed his kicks. They missed 2 conversions and a penalty. And he nailed 2 penalties.
What was the end score?
11-10.
Oh, that was the score at half time as well.
No, 11-6 half time, 11-10 full time. Sorry, 11-5 half time.
11-5. So they scored 2 tries.
Sorry, 11-5, 11, and then 11-10.
Oh my word!
So 2
you don't
unconverted
expect that from schoolboy rugby, do you?
No.
Yeah.
Crikey.
Wow.
Well,
Fair
congratulations, Broughton Park.
Yeah.
Yes.
I look forward to seeing you in Talk H colours soon.
Well, we've talked about like building culture at clubs, and you talk a lot about, having an identity and stuff. This is one of those times, and I think actually the higher ups at Broughton Park, the committee and stuff, are probably starting to clock. A couple of years' time.
I'd be surprised if the committee at Broughton Park clock anything. Anything.
I reckon, and this is what I would do personally, and I'm very biased, but I reckon there's a lot of clubs that, I'd be interested to know if this has ever happened. Has a good Colts team ever just been thrust into the seniors as like a first team, and you build a new generation of a team around a bunch of youngsters?
Do you know, I would say, not to the level that you're thinking of, like, almost instant impact.
I'm not saying put the whole lot in. That's not what I mean. But I just mean...
But West Park St Helens last year looked like they were going to do something like that. They came with a very young team. And they beat us, and we were good. Like, we were very good last year, and they beat us from nothing. I wouldn't be surprised if a team like Widnes has done that, because they've been together for so long, and they're all local lads. There will be a few. I reckon Old Winnians will have done something like that. I think the teams that don't do stuff like that, or the teams that we're most familiar with, Broughton Park, Manchester, Didsbury, probably Sedgley. I can't imagine Sedgley would do that.
Certainly not first team. Over the years, there's been a few good second teams built on.
That might be even be a good shout. So,
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking about trying to build that culture where people come to the club, stay at the club.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one which is quite notable is Fleetwood up in Blackpool. They used to do their match day programmes with asterisks for players that have come through minis and juniors.
Through the ranks, yeah.
And I think we played against a team with 13 asterisks.
That's brilliant.
But a lot of teams in level 7 do that now. They make Eccles made a big deal out of it. I'm pretty sure Aylesbury have got quite a few. It's the teams which are kind of local that you'll see doing that, not the university or.
But I bet
big
you the
city
teams that have that have a great atmosphere on a Saturday evening, and that's kind of what I'm thinking about. Is yes, you want to do well in the league and win your games, but if you get a bunch of players that want to hang around with each other, that will gravitate. The families want to feel invested, and then it suddenly becomes a destination, and then your club's doing really well on a Saturday. Bars.
They're very different things. Colwyn Bay was very much like that. Like, all the families came down. But I had a wild time at Broughton Park when it was just 5 teams of nomadic men.
In their
mid-20s. So, horses for courses.
It was class. Very proud of the boys.
Yeah, fair play.
And just as I imagine Rob Baxter's very proud of his boys.
Yes, They did an absolute number on Gloucester.
Yeah.
I didn't see this, obviously, so tell me about it.
Good game, good performance, some lovely tries from Exeter. Hard stuff up front, as you'd expect. Some great lines in the back. Henry Slade got some beautiful lines. And Dan John at 15, who I don't think I've seen much rugby of previously. He had a superb game.
Is Dan John Welsh?
Surely.
Exeter, I was going to say Wales. Wales have got a load of Welsh players. Of course they have. Exeter have got a load of Welsh players.
He is, Wales under 20s. I thought I recognised the name.
It does sound Welsh, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
He had a great game. And Gloucester, kind of one eye on. They've got semi-final next week.
They picked a team that suggested they were focused on the Prem,
but there's... Although none of those players want to get injured and miss the semi-final.
Yeah, tiny shifts have big impacts at that level, don't they?
So when you're only 60% committed to a 50-50, you're going to lose most of those 50-50s.
Yeah.
So I would just say Exeter's star players look like star players. Henry Slade was absolutely sensational.
He was awesome.
He really, he was a difference maker. Jack Vermaelen.
Who got man of the match.
Yeah, we always knew he was good, but he never seemed like a centrepiece of any pack. He seemed more like a complementary player, because you remember you had Vermaelen and you had
Kirsten, Ewers,
Armand.
Yeah, and Simmons obviously doing the flashy stuff.
Yeah, they were just basically the tax you had to pay to have Simmons playing.
Yeah.
And now, Vermaelen just looks like the main man. He's definitely scored one. Then he runs over his opposite number. It's just a barnstorming performance. And then all the other guys that you think should be good, like the captain, David Jenkins, and guys that they think are about to take the next step, they all look good too. So they've got this really, really good combination of lads developing and lads that are being paid big money or bigger money actually doing what they're paid to do.
Mm-hmm. But only a handful, because Baxter confirmed, I think, after the game, that They are under the cap this year, though. No specifics, but they will also be under the cap next year. So they've got headroom in the salary cap that they are not bringing a huge number of names in. They might bring one or two in, but a load of these players in on their next deal will be multiples of their current deals, like David Jenkins and Chris Tusunzo and Fea Waboso and Ethan Roots and Fisalau.
Actually, Chuns is not exactly what I was hoping that he would be.
He's had injuries, I think. He's not played that much rugby this season, but when he was, it was last season, wasn't it? He was on a really good run that led him into the Welsh squad. And there was one game, it was the game against Quinns that I think Exeter won in the last minute. It was like a 38-36 result, and he scored.
Oh, yeah.
He either scored or set up a try in the 78th minute, 79th minute to win.
It was something like he's in the outside channel, someone tackles him, and he sort of offloads it. I'm sure he does.
Yeah, because there was a debate. Was it forward? Was it out? Was it? But anyway, back then he was playing superb rugby. I think this season has been hit by injuries. But yeah, there'll be a lot of those Exeter players who are not on huge money now, who will be on much bigger money next time.
I think it's going to be like an international, no, not an international star, but I think he's going to be one of rugby's big names, like seriously big names. He's so unique, and I think the attitude he plays with almost like a naivety as to how good he is and what's expected of him. The things he attempts are ridiculous. Like the way he tries to run through traffic he has no business running through. I think he's going to be an absolutely massive star.
And to add to that, his work rate is astonishing.
Yeah, it is.
He works so hard to get himself into the right position, and then when he's in the right position, which he almost certainly is every time, his yards after contact are superb. But he's an interesting one, because like the salary cap report that we're discussing, there's not a single winger in the Premiership last season, and probably the same again this season, earning more than 300k. So they're not your big money players, but he is undoubtedly a star.
He is, isn't he?
Well, I think he seems like he clearly is a very smart lad, because he's a medical student, but he seems very switched on as well.
Don't be fooled by his merits, Tim.
Very good at doing exams.
Yeah, there we go.
He's very good at doing exams. No, but he seems like he's switched on as well, so I would imagine he would value a place where he is able to do his job very well, which will put him in the England shop window, which will earn him a lot more money.
Yes. Yeah, and through sponsorship deals, because, I don't know, look at someone like Mario Itoje, who's, we know how much someone paid for 25 or 30% of his image rights.
Yep.
Highly talented player, very marketable. So, yeah. And Itoje, had he have gone to France, say Racing Metro or any French team, he would have looked incredible in the kit. He would have been a huge success and more highly paid, but he would have been probably less marketable overall because he's not wearing an international badge.
Mind you, it didn't stop Johnny Wilkinson being the most marketable guy.
He
went, his value went up as a marketable commodity.
But he'd already won a World Cup.
This is true.
And he'd had 10 years at the top under his belt at that stage.
And he was still playing for England in Toulon, I think.
Yeah. Did he?
He did. He definitely did.
Because when did he go? Because he played in the 2011 World Cup final. World Cup final. What am I saying? World Cup final. I'm thinking of So he played in 2011 squad. Was that when he went to... had gone to Toulon? I bet it was.
When he scores in the corner, he dives in the corner, he scores, and he's bleeding from his lips.
Yeah.
That was when he was at Toulon. Because his first game back isn't like 2 years, and he was amazing. Well, he was good. And we were in Edinburgh to watch Scotland.
Yeah, that was about 2011, maybe 12. So he played for Toulon from 2009, and he did play for England at the 2011 highly unsuccessful World Cup. So yeah, he had at least 2 years playing in France for England, which he's probably just about the last one to do that.
Yeah,
because I remember only a few years after 2011, playing in the same team as Wilkinson ahead of the 2015 World Cup, Stefan Armitage was getting talked up.
Oh, yeah.
He was tearing up trees in France and getting talked up to play for England, but never
No,
could
no,
because
no.
the exceptional circumstances rule had come into place.
Yeah. I mean, when you just cast your eyes onto... I know it's 2 weeks away now, but when you cast your eyes at the fixtures for round 17, it's going to be something else. Because the state of the table and the fixtures that there are. So you'd think Bath are going to go to Newcastle and get a win, which will put them on 54 or more likely 55 points. You have got... Sorry, I've missed the page there. There we go. So Sale will probably get a win at home to Leicester.
Because Leicester...
Oh, I don't know.
Leicester are
It's
out
tough.
of it.
It's tough.
I mean, the way Leicester play is going to be very difficult for Sale. Sale are going to want to beat you up. Leicester are going to want to beat you up.
Yeah.
Like, are they going to be able...
Sale at home would have to back themselves against Leicester. If they do, they're on 51 points.
And Leicester have nothing to play for.
Yeah.
They are secure in the top 8. They can't make the top 4, so playing for pride, boys on the beach.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you look at the other fixtures that are coming up in round 17, Bristol versus Saracens. Bristol could go ahead of Saracens in the table if they win at home.
No.
Which is incredible.
Yeah.
You think
they're only 2 points behind Saracens.
Yeah. Northampton are going to beat Gloucester, so that'll be fine. But that Bristol Saracens game is incredible. And Exeter Harlequins is, well, it's a knockout game for Exeter.
Yep.
And again, if Harlequins manage to win that, they would go on to 53 or 54 points, which would put them above either Saracens or Bristol, depending on bonus points and whoever loses.
Yeah.
It's wild. It could be wild. So, yeah, Exeter are really the only... Exeter and Sale are the two teams that can be eliminated from contention in the penultimate round.
Yeah.
Well, Sale did just enough. Just enough.
Yeah, it was only the last 10 minutes or so, wasn't it? 15 minutes.
Sale are
Didn't see
really
any of this.
limping into the playoffs, I think, if they even get there. Limping to the end of the season.
So I was following this through the other game because they showed some of the tries and they were keeping you up to date with the scoreline. Sale go 14-0 up, looking good. And then 2 Newcastle tries from Cardell and Guy Pepper, Bath's Guy Pepper, either side of half-time, both converted, made it 14-all with 25 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah.
Cowan-Dickey scored shortly after that Cardell try, and then it was only the last 10 minutes Sale got 2 more tries to make it a bonus point and, in the end, a comfortable win. But to leave it with 10 minutes left on the clock, limping into the last 2 games.
I wonder if the Premiership has evolved past Sale, and it's evolved past Leicester as well. You look at the teams that are doing very well at the moment, and I criticised Saracens for doing this at the start of the season, and maybe they were right and I was wrong, which was all of the good teams now have a very solid attacking identity. So if you look at the Premiership pre the...
If you're struggling to lose weight, you've probably heard about weight loss medications like Wegovy or Zepbound, and you might be wondering if they're right for you. Meet PlushCare, a leading telehealth provider with doctors who are there for you day and night to partner with you in your weight loss journey. If you qualify, they can safely prescribe you medication from the comfort of your own home. To get started, visit plushcare.com/weightloss. That's plushcare.com/weightloss. plushcare.com/weightloss.
Quality sleep is essential. That's why the Sleep Number Smart Bed is designed for your ever-evolving sleep needs. Need a bed that's firmer or softer on either side? Helps you sleep at a comfortable temperature? Sleep Number Smart Beds let you individualize your comfort, so you sleep better together. J.D. Power ranks Sleep Number number 1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now save 40% on the Sleep Number Limited Edition Smart Bed for a limited time. For J.D. Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Only at Sleep Number stores or sleepnumber.com.
collapse of Wasps and actually pre the collapse of the salary cap, you got teams that just want to be physically dominant. Now the salary cap gets shrunk and we don't see the effects of that until a few years later. And then what you notice is teams are actually optimising for a way that they want to play. And the styles which are bearing the most fruit seem to be the attacking styles of Northampton, Bristol Bears, Harlequins,
Bath,
and of course Saracens.
And this incarnation of Saracens.
Yeah.
Because while a lot of the personnel are similar to the last few years, they are playing in a very different way.
They are. And you've still got Alex Sanderson, and you've still got Leicester Tigers talking about, defence and, aggression off the line. Normally it's talking about that. Now, I'm not saying they're wrong, ultimately. I mean, it might come back into fashion next year because these things tend to go in cycles. Only 2 years ago, Leicester Tigers won the title with set piece, defence, and breakdown. And last year, Sale Sharks...
And a lot of kicking from Leicester. A lot of kicking.
Yeah, well, from George Ford.
And the Nines Port Fleet. Was Wiggy still playing then?
Yes,
because he won his... Yeah.
So I just wonder if it's like at the wrong end of the cycle for them both.
One of the evolutions in the style of play, you just touched on it there, is kicking and the attacking kicking rather than the box kicking is still there, but actually that's the biggest change I've seen. And it was a phrase that, what was it? Nicker Benders. When I was down in Biarritz and went to Bayonne where he's coaching, and he said that they have a phrase that they use which is called, what do they call it? Pied ou main, and it's hand or foot, and the principle is there's no difference between your hand and your foot. You need to move and bend and change the picture in front of you, and that can be with a kick, can be with passing. It doesn't really matter. So you can pass the ball down the line, that makes the winger step up, then there's space out back and you can kick.
Yeah.
So just kind of the fluidity and the skill set that people have to be able to, like you see the crossfield kick, perfect example. How often do you see that now? Fly half to winger, loads of it.
Yeah,
loads of it, and it's completely, and that's partly because the wingers are staying in the backfield to defend the long kick. There's space out wide. Quickest way to get the ball there, kick it.
Yeah,
and the skill set is so good that
you
players
missed
are
a hell
able
of a
to.
pass from Harvey Skinner. I made that name.
Harvey Skinner. Yeah.
Harvey Skinner on the weekend. I can't remember who he threw the ball to. Maybe it was
Woodburn.
But went over the top of 2 or 3 players. Stunning pass.
Yeah. But that could equally have been the kick, which Marcus Smith did a beautiful way. Yeah. There's probably many more.
Fast to Rotimi Shagan.
Yeah. And one of the players who we've pointed this out before, one of the players you often think about, not for his kicking, but his kicking is maybe the best part of his game, is someone like Finn Russell, who can do it all, can do the short grubbers, can do the crossfield kick pass, can do
rugby's
the 50,
Maradona.
22.
Yeah,
he can do it all.
I mean, you think about what I just said before about the evolution of rugby and how these things go in stages. It was defence and box kicks for a long time. Defence and box kicks means what? You back three, stay back. Well, what does that mean? Well, then you've got space in the extremities, and it just goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
And then they'll work out how to defend that. It'll come back to defence and box kicking again.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just think Sale and Tigers and their league position probably demonstrates this, or just at the wrong end of the cycle.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that does, if it does shift next season, or whether we do see just more of this Quins Saints style attacking rugby.
I think the way that French teams are playing is how Premiership teams are going to move more and more. And some of the, we've already mentioned Quins, Northampton, it's more so. But I think they're going to break out of the structure a bit more. You see it almost every single phase. 9 to a forward runner with one man either side of him, fly half out the back. And that's every team down to probably level 8 plays like that now.
This is
Broughton Park under 16s play like that.
This is a whinge I had maybe 12 months ago, 18 months ago. Has rugby done anything different other than one out the back, one either side, one out the back, one out the side? I mean, I think I might have said it in the World Cup. I mean, this can't be the entire game. And for a long time, it was the entire game.
It was the entire game. But what French teams are doing is, and what some English teams are doing, is that reaction. When someone sees something, having a go, and the ability to read and react. And you mentioned it on the last pod, the execute when you have a line break.
Yes.
Yeah,
go.
You have to execute. The other thing, which is, it can be in that pattern that you've just described, the forward runner out the back on either side, but Northampton do it much better, and Austin Healy pointed this out a few weeks ago, is running the same play multiple times, but there are 3 or 4 options every time, and you pick a different one. So
this was the Bulls game, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Now the shape could be as simple as 1 up, 2 either side, 1 either side, and out the back, but there was a lot more variety. And he picked 2 or 3 in that game where they'd run exactly the same pattern, and 1 hit the person looping round, 1 hit the inside man, 1 hit the outside man, and it resulted in tries because you're just changing the picture for the defence. So yeah, lots of ways to play the game.
Yeah. Now, do you want to touch on, a lot of people have been asking, what was the text message? What was the text message?
No, and we will save that for the patron.
You sure?
Yes, we will.
I thought you wanted to.
But we will talk about something else. In fact, let's go and talk about refereeing decisions instead. Yeah, so I just wanted to revisit the Cole Dixon decision. Has anyone... I didn't see it during the game. Has anyone seen it?
So, saw it during the game. We commented on it yesterday, but I'd probably only given it a cursory glance when we commented on it. I've been back and I've watched the replays with now reading the kind of formal statement that's come out from Carl and from the RFU.
Is there a formal statement from
There is, yeah.
There's an RFU statement, yeah.
Saying, I haven't seen it. I've been watching under-16 rugby on the piss and then hungover. That's been my last 24 hours. I haven't seen any of it.
All right, so what Dixon and the RFU are claiming is that it is not a ruck situation, but simply a tackle situation.
So,
not having it.
So, Paul Hull, is it Paul Hull? Am I just making that up?
No, I mean, that's the referee's interpretation. Okay,
Paul Hull,
fine.
Yeah. So here is the statement.
It's the hand in pocket that looks bad.
Ram overran a potential ruck running an offload line. If the ruck had been formed, he'd have entered from the side. Dixon assessed the situation. This is after the hand in pocket point. Lack of a potential offload from Augustus. Indeed, a penalty kick was sufficient for the push from Kerr on Ram. He then added, regarding the tackle from Kerr on Mitchell, there was no ruck formed, only a tackle. Kerr comes into the tackle only space. The tackle only space from an onside position. Mitchell is in the possession of the ball, with the ball off the ground, and Dixon confirmed this with the TMO. Therefore, nothing illegal from this accident or incident.
He gave the penalty for a push.
So yes,
right.
So addressing Dixon initially going to his pocket, Hull concluded Dixon initially thought that the ruck had been formed, and Kerr had been cynical, playing the 9 while off his feet. He had a doubt it was tackle only, so removed his hand from his pocket to fully assess the situation, and once all the information had been gathered, he deemed no ruck, only penalty kick for the push on Ram. Now, I've watched it back having read that and reread the definition of a ruck. Now,
this is one of the points you always say, as I'm preempting what you're about to say, but one of the things you always say is have the law book reflect the way that things actually happen on the field. Otherwise, get rid of the law or apply the law. And I think this is one of those situations.
So, I think I was certain that was a yellow card when I watched it. I still think 9 times out of 10 in that exact situation, it gets given as a yellow card.
Agreed.
However, the route that Dixon took and this explanation takes to explain away the yellow card is consistent with the law book. It is a correct application of law. Now, had it have been a different player, I expect we would have seen the yellow card straight away.
Exactly.
And I think
it's not the player that I think is the issue here. Right? I think it's the second card.
Well, yeah,
that's why
because
he's
of the player.
Okay, fine. So the way
he's not saying he likes Danny Kerr.
So the way
I'm definitely not suggesting there is any bias from Dixon.
So the way I would put this, right, is it's kind of like you can do a double movement, can't you, in open play? Like you put the ball down, you move a bit forward, and you can have a double. You can have a double movement. Now, I cannot remember the last time someone has called a double movement as a penalty, which is not a try situation.
Yeah, it never happens.
It just doesn't happen. Although it is.
very, very rarely where someone rolls. And
rolls so as to avoid the juggler from getting to the ball,
or the crawl.
Yeah,
But
it does happen. It's just not one of those things.
Couple of times a season, maybe?
If that.
Yeah.
If that. So the way I'd look at this is if you're going to make a decision off the hoof, which you're more than welcome to do, and it's just a yellow card or not a yellow card, go for it. But if you're about to dish out a red card, you do need to be correct, and it is right to go to the TMO to have a look.
Well, again, this would all be avoided if rugby didn't just have a red card because football has a red card.
Absolutely. That's undoubtedly correct.
Yeah, we got a really good email on this from Ryan from Royston. Love the pod, blah. On the 2 yellows equal red card, I think hockey have this right. Field hockey, that is, not the fun kind where they punch each other. Yellow cards are sin bins, and you can have as many as you want unless the offences are the same, when 2 would equal a red. So if a player made 2 high tackles but both yellows, then the repetition warrants a red. But otherwise, an additional 10 minutes is enough. And I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no reason not to do that.
Yeah, 100%. I think Phil's point is absolutely on the money when he says 9 times out of 10, I'd even put the number higher than that.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Higher than that. And this is one of those things that infuriates me about the laws. It's so exhaustive, as we've said so many times. There's so much of it, and a lot of it, like the feeding in the scrum. If you're not going to enforce that law,
change the law book.
Change the law book.
Yeah.
If a ruck really does mean players have to be on their feet over the ball, then penalise every player off his feet at a ruck, which is about 85% of rucks.
Yeah. I think that is a bigger issue. I do like the referees having some discretion and not. I used to be against this, but I've totally changed my opinion. I used to always want I used to think I wanted the right decision precisely in line with the law book. I don't. I want the referees to have some discretion and flexibility to be able to apply the law as they see it.
Yep.
And not necessarily have precise compliance with the law book every time.
I'll give you an example of when they are literally inconsistent in every single game about laws being applied. Every single game, and I think everyone agrees they're right to be inconsistent. That's timekeeping. Towards the end of the game, they get much more pernickety about timekeeping. Last 10 minutes is refereed almost like it's an NFL game. Time on, time off, time on, time off. Start of it, they don't bother.
Yeah.
So they do tighten up and they do loosen off depending on what the game requires. And I'm okay with that mostly.
I think this whole thing. I think Dixon has, at his discretion, a little bit, which I'm okay with. Chosen to apply the laws as written or found a way to apply the laws as written to avoid a red card. Not for bias or anything like that. I hate the suggestion that he's biased because it's Quins and he might be mates with Danny Kerr. I really find that just... It's so far from the truth.
It's actually just foul. I think the people that are making those accusations towards Cole Dixon are complete and utter wankers.
Yeah.
And furthermore, I don't even like the press. I mean, there's 2 strands of this I hate. One is it's sort of blaming Cole Dixon without blaming him, saying, "Oh, it's our fault for putting him in that situation, like he's too weak to handle it." No, he probably wants to referee Quins as much as he wants to referee Northampton or anyone else, or anyone in a big game.
Quinn's got 3 yellow cards.
Yeah, it's
which were all correct. They were all correct decisions.
So he hates all the Quins except for Danny Kerr. And he gave Danny Kerr a yellow card. So like the idea that, we can't put him in this situation. Someone's going to be too mentally weak. No, wrong. Shut up. Like, trust the referees. Yeah. They are bloody good referees in the Premiership. The URC is tying itself in knots at the moment because they're so worried about home country referees refereeing, an Irish referee refereeing Leinster. Well, then don't have a cross-border competition. Like, you don't worry about the referee from Leicestershire refereeing Leicester, do you? Because they're professionals.
Can't have English referees refereeing English teams.
The only time I do like it is in the international game, because that's more of a tradition, isn't it? Because you have... they used to have them in the actual Welsh shirt,
in the actual kit, yeah, I love that. Yeah.
And that was cool.
That is cool.
That should probably come back, actually. But yeah, that's the only time that I think it's okay to make a big song and dance about the referee not being from that area of the world.
Yeah. It's an interesting point. Like, the whole thing has been interesting, and it was made worse because of the kind of speculation in the media to exactly that point before the game, which was complete nonsense.
Can you imagine how ridiculous a game of rugby would look like if every law was enforced all of the time?
So it would be chaos, dreadful, stop-start. Maybe players would start to learn and start to actually adhere to them. But there would have to be a significant change in behaviours.
Also, thankfully, the referees tend to understand the game, because you don't necessarily want the laws being enforced. I know that sounds ridiculous, but a lot of these laws are not made for the benefit of the fans, or the benefit of the players. They're made for the benefit of the bureaucracy. So I think of the absolute meltdown which I had personally about the high tackle stuff. But thankfully, we've got referees within the community game who just don't care. The game has just not changed. I mean, it might in some areas, and occasionally you do get a referee that does enforce it and you've got to change. But you want guys that understand the game and understand what it is about the game that makes it special. And if you did enforce it to the letter of the law all the time, you got to remember, Carl Dixon is a guy who really got at both barrels for a decision that he made, which, on the face of it, looks completely logical to most people that play rugby. This is the Tom Whiteley. It just completely escapes me exactly what happened, but it was diving in by Tom Whiteley. He's diving in. Something happens.
Tackled him on the floor, sliding into the corner.
Something like something like that, right? Which everyone agrees that's just how you play rugby, right?
But letter of the law, you're not allowed to tackle someone off their feet.
Exactly. Yeah. Carl Dixon's got the World Cup coming up. They drag him over the coals, if that's a saying, in World Rugby. He might not get a World Cup spot. And next time that happens, he makes a decision which is completely and utterly alien to almost every rugby fan. But why has he done it? Because he's enforcing what he's told to by the higher-ups. Yeah. So you don't necessarily want the referees doing what the higher-ups say.
Nope.
Because it's an absolute abomination. Imagine if we had the laws refereed as dictated by idiots like Bill Sweeney. No one would ever play it. No one would ever play it. Or the morons that the RFU Council sent to talk to us about, the belly tackle. Grow up.
I've just remembered something which I'm going to have to find on our EggChasers RFC WhatsApp group, because I did my pedantic referee voice, which I sometimes do, which I did last week on the pod. Where is it? Oh, we have so much shit in our WhatsApp group. It's really hard to find anything. And also, if the world could see this, let's hope that never happens. Where is it? Oh, yeah. So this is what I said on the pod the other week. Oh, no. Sorry. That's
close to what you said on the pod last week.
Duty of care. Yeah. I've got a duty of care.
Who made this?
And then I can't find who it was on the WhatsApp.
It was
group.
Nick, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Nick seems like he'd know his way around musical equipment.
Yeah. And he made this.
Yeah. I've got a duty of care. Duty of care. I've got a duty of care. Duty of care. I've got a duty of care. Duty of care.
Oh, that's flooring that look.
Duty of care. I've got a duty of care. Duty of care. I've got a duty of care.
Oh, I saw a cool clip.
Duty of care. Duty of care.
And it goes on.
So, two things I want to say.
Exceptional work, Nick Blair.
I spoke to...
There we go. Sorry, Jay.
I spoke to a Sky Sports presenter. No, hold that story. I'll come back to it. Have you seen the James Graham debate on whatever the NRL programme is about safety?
No, but I've seen it's been shared in our...
I like James Graham. I like him. I mean, I loved him as a player. I think I've actually been on record saying I think he's the greatest rugby player.
Is he a pundit now?
Yeah, from the British Isles.
If you want the game to be safe, you're playing the wrong game. You're watching the wrong game. You cannot, if you view the game through the prism of safety, and that's all you view it through, Jim. This isn't a bicep. Is it an unacceptable risk of injury? I say no. This is not a bicep or a hamstring. These are people's brains. And Jimmy, you know this better than anybody.
I know.
You know better.
I know. And
you
we
had
entered
more
into
than
this
100
voluntarily.
concussions and 18,000 collisions in your career, which is an unbelievably tough bloke you are. But you should know better than anybody the dangers of this kickoff.
I was attracted to the danger.
But
That's the key word, isn't it?
Straight to get rid of the kickoff. Like, why are we trying to?
That, like, the way he's been on record saying a few things very similar to that. I just love the way he's built. I love the way he takes on the narrative, because you can hear the patronising tone. Jim.
You should know. Yeah.
It's people's brains. Yeah, I know. I play. Like, you don't need to call him Jim 3 or 4 times and then remind him he's had 1,800 collisions. Like, he knows, doesn't he? He absolutely knows. You don't need to explain it to him. And we need more people like him talking about why they were attracted to the game. It's not to say we shouldn't continue to look at improvements in safety incrementally on occasions around the fringes, but that's what I like.
Yeah, you have to keep the elements of the game that attracts people like us, people like James Graham.
Yeah, I'm nothing like James Graham.
A lot harder than all three of us put together could ever be.
Like that, but on a serious note, it might have attracted James Graham to the game, but it's men like James Graham that attracted me to the game, right? So you start losing the people like him who want that danger, and like, if you're a young lad now, you can't help but love the way that the Currys play, because they're so hard, and they might not talk like James Graham, but they certainly act like it.
How fun is Quagga Smith to watch?
Oh my word! Oh my, exactly. So you start trying to eliminate those guys.
Violence is.
Oh, it gets me excited.
But James Graham. So I'm just looking here. So he played nearly
1,800 collisions, mate.
He played nearly 500 games of professional rugby, and in rugby league there are far more collisions as well.
Yeah.
Far more collisions.
I love it.
Absolutely
love it.
He's a hell of a player. From 2003 through to 2020.
So I was going to tell you a story about a pundit that I met this week who's told me a very interesting story about working for Sky Sports.
Patreon?
That's it, Patreon.
Perfect.
Patreon.com/EggChasers.
We talk about Billy and Hoggy.
Planning for your next trip? Elevate your travel style with Quince. Quince has all the jet-setting essentials you'll want for your next getaway, like European linen, premium luggage options, buttery soft Italian leather bags, and so much more. And is all priced at 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Plus, Quince only works with factories that use safe and ethical manufacturing practices. Pack your bags with high-quality essentials you'll be wearing for vacations to come with Quince. Go to quince.com/pack for free shipping and 365-day returns.
Tired of ads interfering with your favorite sports podcasts? Good news. Ad-free listening is available on Amazon Music for all the music plus top podcasts included with your Prime membership. Stay ahead of the game by downloading the Amazon Music app for free, or go to amazon.com/sports ad free. That's amazon.com/sports ad free to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads.
Planning for your next trip? Elevate your travel style with Quince. Quince has all the jet-setting essentials you'll want for your next getaway, like European linen, premium luggage options, buttery soft Italian leather bags, and so much more. And is all priced at 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Plus, Quince only works with factories that use safe and ethical manufacturing practices. Pack your bags with high-quality essentials you'll be wearing for vacations to come with Quince. Go to quince.com/pack for free shipping and 365-day returns.